once, twice, three times a lady. MJF is your three-time AEW champion. He did not get his head shaven. And let me just say, AEW is the best wrestling promotion in the world. There is no debate. There's no tribalism in this. This is literally one of the best shows I've seen ever, bruh. Top to bottom, there's literally not one miss. But let's actually talk about the main event first. I want to talk about that first. Bro, MJF and Darby, bro, they had maybe one of the hardest acts to follow when the entire card, when I say the entire card, every single match delivered in some way, shape, or form. And MJF and Darby had a hard road or a hard mountain to climb because of how great the rest of the card was. But they are the main event for a reason. Darby Allin is AEW champion for a reason. MJF is a two-time and longest reigning AEW champion for a reason. And they delivered, man. Going into this, I was like 70% sure MJF was going to walk out as champion. But that 30% is why this match was so great, because everybody thought, oh, Darby's going to be a transitional champion, da-da-da-da. But what the story they've been telling, with MJF going so crazy on Darby, telling him he's a fluke, he doesn't deserve to be champion, da-da-da-da. In the promo Foley cut prior to the start of the show, during the pre-show, on Darby, how he's doing this for the misfits, he's doing this for the people that told him that he can't do it, he's doing it for the people that doesn't look how, company told him he should look. He's doing it for them. And just the promos leading up to this match of Darby going bald and everything, like, bruh, I said it in my prediction, this is one of the greatest stipulations you could have did, because it really made you believe that Darby could win. In the first 30 seconds of this match, where Darby took one of the craziest and ugliest spills doing a suicide dive that he missed, I said, hot damn. Like, I do not know how he walks. Like, I used to watch Jeff Hardy, like, how does he walk? No, Jeff Hardy can't light a candle to what Darby Allin does. Like, I don't know how he was able to continue to do another probably 20-minute match after that failed suicide dive. But Darby and MJF, man, told a great story where MJF had most of the control of the match, but Darby kept fighting, he kept countering, and it all led to a moment that everybody's going to be talking about, is the moment where MJF is laid out on a table near the entrance ramp. Darby climbs the Titantron and hits the bang bang, which is beautiful storytelling, because Mick Foley told Darby, before I go, I have one last thing to say. As a former person used to say, bang bang, right? It's kind of a salute and kind of a mantra telling Darby, give it everything you got, no matter what, right? And I love that. So right before Darby Allin did his coffin drop, he hit the bang bang. I said, you know what? You motherfuckers. Sometimes I forget that wrestling is great. Sometimes I forget, like, wrestling can be a great thing if we just tell a proper story, bro. And if you pay attention. So he does this crazy coffin drop off the Titantron onto MJF. He makes it, but he busts his head, the back of his head. And at the end of the day, MJF was right that Darby was going to be his own downfall. And him taking a risk like that, when he probably could have beaten MJF without doing that dive. But Darby's going to be Darby, and he's going to take the risk. And sometimes you do not get rewarded for it. But MJF did. And he again, after an avalanche tombstone, beat him with a goddamn headlock takeover, which I'm like, bro, you know what? Y'all, these guys are wrestling soulmates, and it's like, you couldn't end it any other way. Couldn't end it. You have to, every MJF Darby Allin match has to end with the headlock takeover. It has to. It has to. And I'll go hold you. I thought Darby Allin was going to kick out, but he didn't. And I know some people might feel, I feel like we needed maybe a couple more minutes, but you know what? Again, I thought they told a great story. Darby Allin, again, because we've seen him wrestle since he's won the title. I think it's been roughly 6 weeks that he's been going balls to the wall, and he's giving everything he had. And so it's kind of like, do you really think he should have kicked out? Actually, I'm glad he didn't kick out, because it shows you the toll of being Darby Allin and the toll of being the AEW champion. That his spirit was willing, but his flesh was weak. And MJF now is your 3-time AEW champion. Again, what a hell of a match. I was 70% sure MJF was going to win, but they still made me doubt. And then at the end of the match, with Kevin Knight coming down, and you think he's there to take up for MJF, or take up for Darby after MJF is gloating about beating Darby Allin, who's being stretchered out. And would you know, Kevin Knight, your TNT champion, turns on Darby, and now it looks like that is going to be your next feud in the next month or so. And I'm very looking forward to that. I think Kevin Knight is going to do great in this new heel role. I'm curious to see what happens with Speed Bailey. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, now who knows what happens from here when it comes to MJF. I don't know who his next challenger will be for Forbidden Door. But yeah, what a hell of a main event. And again, they had a hard road. I keep saying road. They had a hard hill to climb. But they did it. And MJF is your 3-time AEW champion. And just like with Darby Allin, MJF is going to show you how to be the best in the world as a professional wrestling champion. Unlike the other guys. Shout out to Steve Larson and them. But yeah. So yeah, I had to get the main event out the way, because I'm coming off the high of that goddamn, not only main event, but the entire show. So let's go back to running down the show from the beginning, which they started the show off with FTR versus Cope and Christian. I Quit match. If Cope and Christian lost, they would no longer team up. And let me tell you, what a great way to start off the show, where these guys literally went balls to the wall. They try to kill each other. This was no rest holds at all, for real. It was all intensity. And god dang, I love Christian, man. I love freaking Christian. All due respect to Adam Copeland, I always thought Christian was the better wrestler. He just has a certain aura, it factor about him. He just, when the referee goes to ask him, does he want to quit, he says, no, I got something to say. I banged your mom. Christian is a freaking demon. And then Stokely coming in there trying to take out Adam and Christian with the watch. And Stokely is in the middle of the ring just gloating, and then down comes Beth Phoenix, takes him out, and then FTR gets an advantage and about to put Beth Phoenix through a flaming table, which is damn near poetic, since Mick Foley again is in the building, running back 20 years ago, the moment at WrestleMania 22 between Edge and Mick Foley. So I thought that was very poetic, but Beth Phoenix gets out the way, and Cash Wheeler basically spears Stokely through the flaming table, setting up a cloverleaf cross face finish with the help of, I forget what he calls, Spike, like Spiky, or I forget what he called it, the 2x4 with the spikes in it. And FTR quits, and Cope and Christian is your new AEW Tag Team Champions, which I said in my predictions, I'm not looking forward to a Cope and Christian tag team run because I think their best years are way behind them in terms of a tag team. But I much rather have them together than apart. So I think this would be a nice little 3-month run until we get to probably All In, where they probably will lose them. But until then, again, what a great way to start off the show. It was action-packed. And my 90s baby heart was happy to see forget it, Edge and Christian. I was happy to see Edge and Christian be tag team champions after 25 years. That's the last time they were champions. 25 years. That's really crazy to think after all the tag teams from the Dudleys to the Hardys to like literally everyone around that era. They are the only ones that like really never tag teamed again after 01. Everyone else reunited but them, which is really crazy to think about. But yeah, it's dope to see them back together. It's dope. I said this a while ago. I think Edge this is probably the end of the road for him. At least that's how I see it. I feel like after this run with Christian, I feel like it's going to be the end. But again, that just might be me projecting. But yeah, this is dope to see, and I'm sure they're going to have fun with the tag team run. So that was dope. So I'm like, man, it's going to be hard to follow this match. And then what happens after this match? God dang, TAKESHITA versus Okada for the International Championship. And we all knew, well, it's about to go down. And it did go down as TAKESHITA and Okada had definitely, in my opinion, match of the night. And as of right now, probably off the top of my head, the second best match of the year, right behind Roman and Punk at Mania. To me, this is the second best match I've seen all year. These guys, we knew they was going to throw hard. We knew they was going to try to kill each other. But I love the psychology of the match too, to where clearly TAKESHITA was the babyface, Okada was the heel, Okada was cocky, and TAKESHITA kept earning Okada's respect. I think they did a great job near the kind of like the third quarter, I would say, of the match, to where both were on the outside and Okada's about to kill TAKESHITA with like a tombstone on the outside. And Don Callis, of course, who's always ringside, stops Okada, and Okada listens. But when TAKESHITA's about to hit Okada with like a DDT or something, Don Callis goes up to TAKESHITA, and TAKESHITA middle fingers Don Callis. So again, you are telling the story that TAKESHITA is not listening to Don Callis. In the end, they had the last 5 minutes of this match was like poetry in motion. Like, this was beautiful. Like, I can't even recap everything that happened, but TAKESHITA defeats Okada, and I said in my predictions, I think they did a hell of a job of keeping people invested in this story that's been going on for forever. And I'm like, there's no need to have Okada win here. He's fine losing. He'll be fine. And they finally have TAKESHITA win, which I thought was great. And I'm like, okay, so I wonder what story to tell from here. And well, we got our answer pretty much right after the match, where Okada and TAKESHITA are kind of showing respect. And it looks like the Don Callis family is going to turn on TAKESHITA. But down comes Kyle Fletcher, returning Kyle Fletcher. And everybody's like, okay, well, what's going to happen here? And it appears Kyle Fletcher is protecting TAKESHITA and fends off the Don Callis family. But all of us knew, in that salmon suit, all of us knew it was a matter of time before Kyle turns on TAKESHITA And God dog it, he turned on him right after hugging him and raising his hand. I said, "You motherfucker!" And so yeah, that's going to be our next feud is Kyle Fletcher versus TAKESHITA. I can't wait to see what happens with that. So off rip, already talked about the main event. So 3 out of 3 as of right now. So it's kind of like, bruh, everything is hitting. The mac and cheese is touching the yams, you know what I mean, the collard greens. And then after this, we get Athena versus MINA in the women's Owen Hart Cup quarterfinal. And I said from rip, Athena better win. I don't care what happens in the match. Athena better win. And I also was like, dang, I feel bad for these women because they're going to have a hard time following FTR versus Cope and Christian as well as TAKESHITA and Okada. And when I tell you, MINA and Athena worked like they were opening the show. And even though it was only like 10 minutes, Athena and MINA told a great story where Athena had her leg worked on throughout the entire match. And MINA, it was interesting because MINA is the babyface and they were cheering her. And I'm so happy the crowd, when I thought the crowd was going to start becoming uninterested, they kept getting back up during the match. And I think not only because AEW crowds are great crowds, but also I think Athena and MINA did a great job of not having any real rest holds and keeping you engaged. And when I tell you Athena, man, she's one of the best sellers I've seen since like Dolph Ziggler. Because she knows how to sell her ass off, man. Like, and she got beat up, I want to say like 70% of the match. So I'm like, is Athena supposed to be the babyface here? Like, I don't really know. But at the end of the day, Athena eked out the win and defeated MINA. And she's going on to the semifinals. I don't know who she will potentially face. I don't think, actually I do. She is going to face Sky Blue or Cherie. So that should be intriguing. But yeah, I'm like, man. And the crowd was kind of split. They were for Athena and MINA. But I think I didn't really know how people really felt. But going online, I think a lot of people are like, man, Athena needs to win. So hopefully that happens. Who knows? But as of right now, Athena has made it on to the semifinals. So we'll see. But yeah, shout out to MINA and Athena because they had a difficult act to follow after the first 2 matches. And then, again, speaking of a difficult act to follow, Mox and Kyle O'Reilly for the AEW Continental Championship. And this also had a very big backstory, which apparently Jim Ross didn't have much of apparent idea what it was. Because clearly they sent JR out there to kind of give some oomph to the match. And JR was fighting for his life. He clearly had maybe some bullet points, but he clearly did not know the real story of this match. God bless him. I'm like, JR, your fastball is all the way gone. You have no fastball anymore. But he was trying. But yeah, Mox and Kyle O'Reilly, like for the first, I want to say like 5-7 minutes, the crowd wasn't really into it. And also because they were very mat based. The crowd was kind of quiet, but again, I give it to the crowd and I give it to the talent. Mox and Kyle kept getting the crowd back into it. And because the story of the match was Mox not wanting to tap to Kyle O'Reilly, who he has tapped to the previous 2 times, it was a very impelling story, but also you have the element of Kyle O'Reilly in his, I want to say, was it his leg? It was his leg that was being worked on. And him not wanting to give up either. So it was very much a like 60-40 match. Mox was in control 60-40. But you still were like, will Mox tap out? Right? And you were hoping Mox does not tap out. If anything else, I don't care what happens, but I hope Mox doesn't tap out, which is so crazy because Mox is this weird character to where he's not a babyface or a heel. He's just a hybrid, an anti-hero. So it's hard to get sympathy for him because a lot of what he does in the ring is very vicious and aggressive and at times arrogant. But he finds ways to get you invested to where you feel empathy for him. And so by the end of the match, when Kyle O'Reilly has him in an ankle lock, we're like, Mox, you better not tap. I don't care what you got to do, you better not tap. And he finds a way to escape it. And somehow, I don't think I've ever seen this. Near the end of the match, both Kyle and Mox has both have an ankle lock on each other at the same time in the middle of the ring. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that in life. And that was crazy. But Mox was able to find a way to get an advantage, get the ankle lock onto a leg lock onto Kyle O'Reilly, and Kyle also was like, damn, don't tap. And you can tell the way he was moving his body, he didn't want to tap, just like Moxley a year ago. But because of how Mox was working on the leg through the entire match, Kyle had no choice but to tap. And I'm like, great storytelling. How it went full circle to where Mox was able to overcome his fear of quitting and was able to get Kyle to quit. Great storytelling, and then a great show of respect from both factions and each other at the end. And I'm like, God dang, this is a great freaking pay-per-view. It hasn't been one ad, has damn near been no. Again, with AEW pay-per-views, there's not really any time in between matches outside of the hype packages. And again, great booking, having Will Ospreay and Samoa Joe follow this, because right after Will Ospreay comes out, they're still showing the Death Riders leaving the arena, but it showed Moxley almost like he doesn't want to leave the ring, but he knows he has to leave the ring and allow Ospreay to do his own thing. So I love that too, because it's showing how much Mox really cares about Will, right? It's just like, man, like the little details, right? Like if you didn't catch it, like it might not mean nothing to you, but I just love that little storytelling of Mox, like he's leaving the ring after a grueling match and he's still worried about Ospreay, or he cares about Ospreay as he enters the ring. And then Samoa Joe comes to the ring, and before Samoa Joe can even gather his thoughts, Ospreay was on Samoa Joe. And again, I love this story of Will Ospreay is no longer like wasting time. I think a lot of what Mox has been telling Will is like, you got to capitalize on momentum. You can't be wasting time. And that's what Ospreay did. Now, of course, it's still Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is a freaking tank, and it's hard to put that man down. And so there was a great back and forth contest for the majority of the match. But Ospreay just had Samoa Joe's number. I think 3 hidden blades is what got Samoa Joe. That last one, I think it was like at the back of the head. He took him out. So, yeah. Will Ospreay, of course, most of us believe, and I think it's a foregone conclusion, that Ospreay is going to win the Owen in main event All In and win that title. But I'm still intrigued with, again, it's genius, because anybody else would have just had Will Ospreay do the typical, hey, I want to win the title, and I need to win the tournament, and I'm going to main event in my hometown. Anybody could have did that. But the addition of the Death Riders is so genius, because it now creates a new wrinkle in Ospreay's character, a new development into his moveset, right? Like if the chips are down, Ospreay is going to go to the arm bar. He's going to potentially, I'm still waiting for him to do, I forget what Moxley's chokehold is, whatever that chokehold is called. Like eventually I expect him to go to that well as well. Again, adding submissions to his moveset, not doing so much high flying stuff. Again, not doing, kind of trying to do the opposite of what Darby is, right? Yeah, I really thought this was a solid match. Again, I was worried because I'm like, I know Joe and Ospreay can have a solid match, but these last like 3 or 4 matches have been so good. I don't know if you can follow that. And again, because of the crowd and their talents, they were able to follow the match. And so again, shout out to Joe. Part of me was like, man, I can't believe I'm seeing Joe wrestle in 2026. Like, part of me is like, I remember when he was in WWE and like he just could never stay healthy. And so to see him here still wrestling in 2026 and still see a Punk wrestle in 2026 is still kind of wild to me. I know eventually Joe is probably going to hang him up soon. So I'm trying to appreciate the time he has in the ring while he's there. Speaking of appreciating time in the ring, the next match, which I thought, boy, y'all gonna have a hard time trying to get this crowd still invested. But again, the crowd was on fire the entire night, and Swerve and Bandito did a hell of a job in this match. Let me tell you something. I know this is probably gonna be talked about forever. Swerve. First of all, shout out to you with the Michael Jackson entrance jacket. Respect to that. I love Michael, so I'm always gonna. Same thing with Jade and B-Fab and Meechin, what they did on Saturday Night's Main Event with the tribute. You're always gonna be a favorite in my book when you do that. But Swerve, let me just talk about the spot that everybody was talking about. Swerve did like a, I don't even know what you call it, like he stood on the shoulders of Bandito, straight up, and then hit a house call on Bandito. I said, how do you have the balance to do that? 2, how did you even think of that? And 3, you are crazy. Like, Swerve is insane, bruh. That was wild, bro. Like, shout out to Swerve, bro. Like, he is really, him, it was like him, Ospreay. Yeah, it's like him and Ospreay. Like, every time they're in the ring, I cannot wait to see what crazy stuff they're going to do, because they always going to try to do something stupid. Like, same thing with Darby as well. Like, there are a few people that I cannot wait to see what they're going to do, because I know they're going to do something crazy. Yeah, also Swerve. Like, how did you do that? And then the last 5 minutes of this match was insane. The counters and the counters and the counters. And then Swerve does eventually win in the end with like a vertebreaker with another house call. But yeah, Bandito, Swerve, again, a very solid match. Now Swerve moves on to the semis in the Owen tournament. He will either face Mark Davis or Jack Perry, and that's very intriguing now because of what Mark Davis and Jack Perry did in the Stadium Stampede, which that wasn't the next match, but I might as well talk about that now because that was, 30 minutes, and that match was insane, as they always are, with the Jericho Elite Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand and the Don Callis family. Let me tell you something. They did a video package before the match to where it was like a movie. It was literally cinema, especially Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite. So dope. Like, God. I just love it when the production team puts in effort to give us something dope like they did here. It literally was like a movie for the package before the entrances. It felt like Reservoir Dogs, kind of something like that. Yeah, this match, like, there's so many spots in here. I want to say the the craziest highlight is probably Jack Perry almost running over Mark Davis with the van or the bus, and probably Andrade taking pictures with the baddies at ringside, only for was it Luchasaurus to come in and hit him with the mist. But then there was like a 7-way super kick onto, I think it's Toa Leona. I think that's how you say his name. Yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, this match was insane. Like, all the way through. Like, God, just watching Shelton at like 50 move like he's 30 or 25 is still insane to me. Even Leo Rush had a great cameo in here with Bobby Lashley, going back to their days in when WWE when Bobby Lashley came back to WWE back in 2018 and teamed up with Leo Rush. I thought that was a great little callback with Leo Rush's character now, which is insane. And Bobby sold it so great. He's like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? But yeah, just craziness, chaos, what Stadium Stampede is for a good 30 minutes. And of course, Jericho, the Hurt Syndicate, and the Elite won. Also, I don't know what it is with Omega, but just seeing him in the ring also feels special. I think because he's been so on and off over the past 5 years, that anytime I see Omega, it feels special to me. So also just dope to see that. Hopefully he can stay healthy, at least to All In. I'm really hoping he gets a big match at All In. I have an idea of what they could do, which I'm probably going to do All In predictions this week, because I already have an idea what the card. I have an idea what the card could be, and so I'm gonna go off that idea. But we'll see. But yeah, Stadium Stampede never disappoints. Then the match before that was actually the 4-way for the AEW Women's World Championship, which this is the least forward I was looking to. It was, how you say that? This was the match I was looking least forward to, with THEKLA versus SHIDA versus Jamie Hayter versus Statlander. It's had nothing to do with the talent in the ring. It just, there isn't no clear story that I really feel like grabs me. Especially, and that's hard to do with Fatal 4-Ways anyway. But yeah, I just don't believe anybody's taking that title off of THEKLA, at least to All In. I just don't see it. But with that being said, they still did a great job in this Fatal 4-Way to where it was physical, and they did their best not to make it a typical, I don't know, this might just be a WWE thing, to where there is 1v1 and then the two other people in the match are just on the outside. They try to involve everyone in the match throughout the entire match, which I thought was very dope. SHIDA and Statlander had an intriguing exchange near the end of the match, which I'm pretty sure that is going to evolve into something. Probably, I'm thinking maybe a match at All In. We'll see. But yeah, they had a little back and forth that didn't seem too friendly, and THEKLA eventually took advantage of that and did retain the title again. I thought it was a very solid match. That even though I wasn't looking that forward to, it still was very action-packed. It's still very fun, entertaining. And I thought the right call was made with THEKLA retaining. So yeah, I'm pretty positive that she's going to go into All In as champion. Now, not to say that she might not lose it maybe for a month or two before going into All In, but I don't really see that. But yeah, that was the entire card. I already talked about the main event once again. Yeah, every match delivered, 10 out of 10. Literally, if you want to say there was a weak match, I literally don't know what that would be. Like, I'm looking through the card right now. I think I predicted every single match. There's not one match that I got wrong. Like, I predicted the entire card, yet it was so much fun still. That's when you know, like, you did a great job, because I literally predicted every single match I got right in my predictions, and yet every single match delivered, and every match had me on the edge of my seat because I still didn't know. That's magic. That is what the magic is. Yeah, man, if you are tired of ads, all in the videos, waiting 30, 45 minutes in between matches, go ahead and join AEW, man. It's worth the watch, man. Like, comment, subscribe, share all the things are the things. Welcome to the hive, bitch. Yes, here's Arcade, your hardcore casual fan. If you're not down with that, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.